Hallelujah.
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 Yah Zeba'o, Meleka Olam, Bebakusha, Kwabel na et Hakita Hazot Lefaneka. Yehovah Eloheinu, We Elohei Abotim, Shub Lanu et Safaknu, Shub Lanu et Lashonu. Now Yehovah Elohei Israel, Tina im Amka Israel, Wagam King Bebakushaya, Til Pa na et Kokoli Ba Amka Israel. Yehovah Zeba'o, Bebakusha, Al Tishet, Bebakusha, Litakwe et Bnei Adat, Yehovah Eloheinu, Wagam King, Al Tishkat Otanu, Lahatzliach et Ma'asenu Be'eneaka, Meleka Olam Bebakusha, Tishmana et Tefilotenu, Wagam King, Titain Azneka El Takanune, Kiataha El Hashamea, La Amka Israel. Yehovah Zeba'o, Meleka Olam, Bebakusha, Tishlakna, Ekamul Kabakayenu, Wagam Kena, Yehovah Eloheinu, Tebaretna, Watatzliach Bebakusha, Et Maase, Mora, Yehovah Zeba'o, Meleka Olam, Salak Lanu, Anaknu, Shoalim Ota. Hallelujah.
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 Amen. Amen.
Amen.
King. Shalom. Giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. This is Hebrew lesson number 6. All right, what we're going to go over in this particular regard is the aspect of vowels. Now, as we already explained, vowels is what makes sound. As we explained in lesson number 2, you can't say that the Bibles that we have currently are good and correct, and then saying at the same token that the Hebrew language of old, prior to even the master rights, is incorrect, because that is where the standard translations came from that we have of today. So this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. Brothers and sisters, as we went over before, there are 22 letters within the Hebrew alphabet. All right? Now, of the letters that are within the Hebrew alphabet, brothers and sisters, what we're dealing with is letting it be noted for edification purposes that Aleph is mute, Bet makes the B sound, Gamel the G sound, Dalet the D sound, and so forth. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about when we're getting into this particular subject matter. All right, now, we went over before the aspect of vowels, but we want to sit there and do maybe what some may call a review in this particular regard. All right, what we're going to deal with right here is these two offhand. All right, and I'm going to put an olive there, but it's just fair for edification purposes. All right, so we can begin to see what we're dealing with and what we're talking about. All right, what we are looking at right here, brothers and sisters, is called the segol. The segol, all right, with the 3 dots there, as you see, makes the eh sound, as in the word pen, men, and so forth and so on. So that's something we want to point out for edification purposes. That goes underneath the letter. What you're looking at right here, brothers and sisters, is what is referred to as a qamat, and that too goes underneath the letter. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about and what we're dealing with. All right, as we know, Aleph makes no sound. The particular subject genre of this particular lesson is not, brothers and sisters and elders included, so much in regards to the alphabet or the sound that the letters make, but more so of the sounds that the vowels make. All right. So once, as we already stated before, you know the sounds of the letters and the sound of the vowels. By default, you then do know how to read. Okay. So let that be noted for reasoning purposes. Keeping the, however, the letter Aleph there. If you look right here, brothers and sisters, this is what is referred to as, when you see just one take away a subtraction looking sign, that is referred to as a patak, all right? And that too also goes underneath the letter, all right? That is what we're looking at over here at this particular side, all right? So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in this particular regard. What you're looking at over here, brothers and sisters, makes the oo sound. And as we begin to know and see, they all go underneath the letter, as shown in this particular regard, regardless of what the letter is. All right? So, the next thing we want to sit there and touch on in this regard concerning the vowels, all right, is this. All right? What this is right here is referred to as the zere, which makes the A sound. All right, as in may, K, bay, and so forth. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. What you're looking at right here is referred to as a kirik. The kirik makes the E sound, as in the word me, be, see, and so forth. All right, as we went over, all these vowels so far go underneath the letter. All right, so now let's look at it under this particular regard. This making the oo sound going underneath the letter. All right, this making the ah sound going underneath the letter. All right, so we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. So now, had this been a bet, it would have been read as ba, boo, ba, boo, bay, be, ba. All right, just so that way it can be noted for edification purposes and reasoning. All right, these are the ones as stated that go underneath the letter. Okay, now the next thing we want to deal with, brothers and sisters and elders included, regarding the vowels. All right, putting the aleph here yet again. In this particular regard is the vowel that goes over the letter. All right. Now, this here is referred to as a kolam, all right, going over the letter, okay? And this is also referred to as the same thing. Both of these making the O sound, all right? So that way we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard, all right? Okay, I gotta write it over, no problem. Just let me know. No biggie. All right? What we're looking at is the colon in that particular regard over that, and sometimes you will see it with a wow next to it. It doesn't change the meaning in that particular regard. You may see a word such as this, the sheen, the lamed, the wow, and the mem, Sophie. And that spells the word shalom. All right? Now, if you happen to see that same particular word, okay, spelled such as this with the colon over the lamed itself, it does not change the meaning of the word. And you may see that in the scriptures. All right? So that's something we want to talk about and emphasize on for edification purposes. Another thing, brothers and sisters, concerning our friend, the dot that goes over, referred to as the kolam, is this. Let's look at this word right here. We got a mem, a sheen, and a hay. All right? Now, when you're looking at it in this particular regard, you got the dot over where this is at. This dot right here in this regard serves as the dagesh for the sheen and the kolam for the m or the mem. So this spells Moshe. You may see that in that particular regard. All right, that's something I want to explain in regards to the usage of the kolam. Okay? Another thing, brothers and sisters, concerning the kolam aspect is this. All right. This particular word right here, all right, it spells the word sholash. Now, what's going on in this particular regard is when you have a sheen with the daggers on the right-hand side, it makes the SH sound. Now, this daggers here shows it to be making the O sound in that regard, even without the vowel present. So when you see this letter right here with the daggers on both the right and the left side, it is letting you know that is to be said as the word show. All right, you may see that when you're reading in the scriptures in the Hebrew. So we want to go over this particular aspect and this particular regard. Another thing, brothers and sisters, concerning the kolam in Hebrew is this. Let's just use this right here. All right, we got this here as such. This, as we are already familiar with, the scene making the S sound, as in the word Yisrael, and so forth and so on, as in the word Yasis. You'll see the word Yasis written in the book of Deuteronomy 28. All right? Now, in this particular regard, when you're looking at this, but you don't see no shuruk, you don't see no patak, no shawah, or so forth, what you're dealing with is this making it as a kolam and a scene at the same time. So in that regard, it is pronounced as solash. Solash. Because this dot, when you don't see it on this side, but only on that side, it serves as a dual aspect, making it a scene as well as the O sound at the same time. So we want to point that out for edification purposes. All right. Another thing, okay, brothers and sisters, in regards to the vowels is this. Let's look at this word right here. You have the word, or actually the letter. This is the letter tau, making a T or some say TH sound. All right? And that's what that is there. Now, this letter right here makes the P sound. It's the letter P. All right? Let's look at what we're dealing with in this regard. All right? Now, this is referred to as the shuruk in that regard. This with the wow with the dot within it makes the oo sound. All right, for edification purposes. All right, now that was spelled the tau making the T sound, and then you have the ah patak there, ta. All right, the P sound there with the oo. P and oo, or pay in the shuruk, makes the oo sound, so therefore it's poo. All right, so I just want that to be pointed out for reference purposes. Now, I want to sit there and expound upon something in dealing with the vowels. This is here the letter het, all right, if you will. Now, let's look at the letter ket with the ah in that regard. Anytime the letter ket, and this only works with the letter ket itself, is at the end of a word. You don't say tapu ka. You say it as tapu ak. All right? So here's another word showing that particular thing and more of a common used word. You have the resh with the u sound, and then the ket at the last letter with the patak under it. That spells the word ruach, which means what? Spirit or wind. Then you have tapuach, which means apple. All right? So this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. There is nothing that I'm saying in this lesson that is not important. If it takes a person to have to stop it, rewind and re-listen to it, let it be known for edification purposes. All right? So this is something we want to just have to be known for reasoning aspect. Brothers and sisters, another thing we want to touch on in regards to the vowels is this. Let's look at this right here. right? Now, this spells with the letters mem, pay, tau, and ket, all right, for edification purposes. Under the mem, brothers and sisters, we see what is referred to as the quamats, or pardon me, the patak, all right? Patak as also the quamats both make the ah sound, all right? So we can gain some understanding of what we're dealing with and what we're talking about. This is the mem and the ah. Now, under the pay, it is referred to as a shawah. And this is a vowel we want to sit there and talk about and explain to the best of our ability. What happens with the shawah, brothers and sisters, is you simply join it with the sound that is previous to it. All right? So therefore, the pronunciation is said as mop, or some say mouth. All right? But the point nonetheless is this. With the shawah, you join it to the sound that's before it, and then you continue reading on with the rest of the word. So that would be mop, then the ta with the zere. Zere, as we already explained, makes the A sound. All right? So that's mop te. And remember, anytime we have ket with a patak as the last letter of the word, you say the ah sound before the ket sound. So therefore, it is pronounced as mafte'ak, which means key. It comes from the root word patak, which means to open. By having a word such as patak, a verb, which means open, as we already went over before in Shabbat lessons and so forth, by putting the prefix of the mem, you turn the verb to a noun. To open is a verb. A key is a thing, thus it is a noun. All right? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? The next thing, brothers and sisters, we want to expound on concerning a particular vowels is this, because we already went over the aspect of what? The alphabet. Look at this word right here. You got mem, lamed, and kaf. All right? So that way it can be known for edification purposes. If we put a segol underneath the mem and the lamed, right? And then the castle feet holding this shawah, and within it, it spells the word melek, which means king. All right? These are things we want to show for edification purposes. Now, I want to explain something about the vowels as well. Anytime you have a zere and the first letter, which is not here, but anytime now when you have a zere or a segol or two segols, it is referred to as a segolit noun. Segolit noun. All right? Segolate. It is referred to as a segolit noun. Melek means king. All right? Malak means to rule. All right? So that's something we want to show for edification purposes. Now, let's look at this word that we're going to deal with right here. Mem, lamed, kaf, and kasofi. All right? This says the word malchekat, which in Hebrew means your king when you speak it to a male. All right? What am I trying to emphasize is a couple of things with just this one word right here. You may see the shawah with the second and the third letter. Maybe even with the first and the third letter. Maybe the second and the fourth. But I want to emphasize, you will never see the shawah with both the first and the second letter. As I'm stating, there is nothing that I'm talking in this lesson that is not to be taken serious regarding the vowels. So if it takes a person to have to review it and rewind it, so be it. Now, some may say, okay, speeding up, going fast, but this is why we're putting it online so you can pause it, rewind, and get whatever notes you may have to get. Ask questions in the comment board about this particular subject, and just type in the minute and second, and it will be addressed. All right? So we want that to be noted for edification purposes. We'll take questions as we go along in this particular aspect. Now, let's look at this once again. You have mal, all right? Mal, ka, which means your king, all right? When speaking to a male, if you're speaking to a female, saying your king, you would say the word mal cake, all right? So I just want that to be noted. Brothers and sisters, let's look, all right, in this particular regard. Let's take the same simple word that's used, all right? You have the lamed with the shawah, the kaf with the zere, and then the kasofit with the shawah. Mal cake, all right? So we want to show what we're dealing with and what we're dealing in this particular aspect, all right? All right, brothers and sisters, what we're going to deal with in this particular aspect, you have mal and then cake. All right? It basically you're doing with the shawah is you're joining it with the sound that's before. All right? So want that to be noted for edification purposes. This means your king when you're speaking to a female. This means your king when you're speaking to a man. Let's deal in regards to showing how the vowels work in Hebrew with a more commonly used word in Hebrew. All right? Let's take this word here. This is the word yad, meaning hand. All right? Now, in Hebrew, we're not going to deal so much with yadi, yado, and so forth. This is more so about understanding how the vowels work. As we went over yesterday, once you understand the alphabet, you understand then the vowels. We're dealing with this in an orderly fashion as far as teaching this aspect. All right? You have the yod with the patah, making the ah sound. So it's ya, then da, or yadi, should I say, just like that. Let's look at it with this regard. All right? You have it saying yad ka, but we want to sit there and show that this will be shown with a shawah within it. All right? So what are we looking at in this particular regard? You have yad ka, which means your hand when you're speaking to a man. All right? That's something we want to point out for edification purposes. So, brothers and sisters, let's go into another aspect with this right here. You have yad, take. All right? Just want to show how that works. Pardon me with that. In that particular regard. All right? Yadek means your hand when you're speaking to a female. You have the zere here, the A sound, and the kasofit with the shawah within it. I want to emphasize that of all the sofit letters, there are five of them. Kasofit, mem sofit, nun sofit, fe sofit, zade sofit. All the sofit letters. And we want to write them out so it can be shown what a brother is talking about in this particular regard. And we're going to show how the vowel system connects with it. You have kaf sofit, looking like a big dollar, basically. You have mem sofit, which looks like a cement just in much more straight form. You have nun sofit, which looks like a big wow. All right. You have fe sofit. All right. And then you have zade sofit. These are the five letters that make up the sofit letters in Hebrew. But of all the 5 letters, only 2 you will ever see with a vowel with it. Now, you may see the schwa or the actual quamat, and that goes only with, for the sake of time, with the kaf sofi. Periodically, you will see the nun sofi with this actual quamats. Now remember, the sofi letters go at the end of a word. So periodically, I want to emphasize, as you may read Torah, you will begin to see that this right here will be shown periodically with the nun sofi. All right? This is something we want to point out for edification purposes. Okay, now, brothers and sisters, in continuing on and discussing the aspect of the vowels, let's do a mini review, if we will. Let's look at this right here. You have the aleph, and this is the letter we started with, so we're going to stay in that regard. Then you got the aleph right here. All right, now remember, aleph makes no sound, as we went over in the past. All right, so if this makes the I sound, that's the only thing you're going to get out of that. Same with this particular aspect here. What we're going to go over, and only dealing with aleph, is showing, brothers and sisters, what goes underneath the letter. All right? The zere, the kirik, and that's you have the patak, kwamat, zere, kirik, the quibbutz. Those are the vowels which goes underneath the letter besides the shawah. But though we're using the word, or pardon me, the letter aleph, I want to emphasize that you're not going to really see an aleph with a shawah when you read it. But I'm showing it here just so it will be noted when you're reading in a particular aspect what goes underneath the letter. Those vowels being the patak, kwamat, zere, kirik, kwebut, and shawah. Those are the vowels that go underneath the letter. All right, so we can have edification purposes in that regard. This makes the I sound, the I sound, the A sound, the E sound, the U sound, and no sound. All right, so we want to show that for edification purposes and reasoning. Now, the kolam, we're going to go over that in a mini review in this. You have the aleph, or any letter with a dot over it, or sometimes you will see any letter such as aleph with a wow with a dot over it. That makes the O sound, as in the English toe, bo, ko, mo, no, so, and so forth and so on. So that's how that works in that particular regard. All right? The next thing to go over, this may seem a little redundant, is the aspect of the U sound. All right? You have the quibbutz, making the U sound, as well as this, the shuruk. This vowel that you see right here serves as a vowel holder. All right? So we want to point that out for edification purposes. So either this or this, you will see it in the Torah, written in the Hebrew interchangeably. All right? This is why in Shema Yisrael, with that knowledge, blessed be the Most High, we do not promote here, at least, grammatia, which is saying the numerical value must also mean something else. No, we don't do that in that particular regard by saying the word must numerically mean something, even though you can do math with Hebrew letters. We'll explain that in another aspect. But we just want to expound on that particular case in that particular regard. All right, now let's look at another aspect of the vowels in Hebrew. Let's look at this right here. This is the letter ket, right? This is the letter yod, right? Now, with ket in the ah, you may see it sometimes as a ket or any letter, I'm just picking ket, okay, as that. Whether you see the ah sound as the patak or the kwamat, anytime you see that and the yod is the next letter, the sound of it is I. So it is pronounced as kai. Had this been a bet with that in the yod, it would have said bye. All right? Had that been a tav and the kwamat and the yod next to it, it would have said tie. Tie, tie, bye, tie. The point I'm emphasizing on is anytime you have the kwamat or the patak and the next letter to it is a yod, making a Y sound, the whole pronunciation at that point is I. Let me explain further what I'm getting into. Let's look at this word right here. All right? We have this aleph, hey, and bet, aha, which means love. All right? Ohab in Hebrew literally means I will love. It's a verb. All right? Now, if you put a yod there, and then you have it to where the patak or kwamat is there, that word is ohabai. All right? The word ohabai literally means my lovers. All right? Now, in Exodus 20, we see it like this, where it says, let ohabai, translated in English by many as saying, to those that love me, but literally means to my lovers. All right? So we just want that to be noted for edification purposes. What we're dealing with and pointing out, brothers and sisters, is when you have the patak or kwamat and the next letter to it is a yod, the pronunciation with the vowel aspect in is said as I. Let's use another example, if we will, to discuss our point. We have the aleph and the ket, right? With the aspect of a patak, which makes it ak. Ak means what? Brother. All right? Now, if you put a yod next to the ket, all right, and then you have it as a kirik under the ket, it is said as aki, which means my brother. All right? Now, if you have the aleph with the ket, all right, and with a patak or kwamat, it is default by said as ahai, which means my brothers. This means my brother, Aki. This means my brothers, Ahai. This is how Hebrew works in that particular regard. All right? So we just want this to be noted for edification purposes. Okay. Now, one of the last things we're going to go over in regards to the vowels, brothers and sisters, is this. Let's look at this here. You have the Yod, Sin, Resh, Aleph, and Lamed, right? If you put, we know this is Israel in Hebrew, all right? All right, the Yod, okay, with the Kirik makes the E sound, all right? So that's said as Ye. Sorry about that. All right, Yisrael. Now, let's get into this particular aspect, if we will. What happens is, as stated, is joined there due to the Shawah. All right? So it's Yis. Then we have Ra El. All right? Now, that's something we want to show for reason and purposes. Let me get the book that you see there, my brother Josiah, the Egypt Talk book. Todah, Tainli, Todah Aki. What we're looking at right here, Egypt Talk in writing, just want to show real quick. I explained that this word Israel does not come from Isis, Ra, and El, as some people try to say. Just want to show that for reason and purposes. That book, by the way, is available on Amazon. So now getting back into this particular aspect, Yisrael, Yisrael. What do we want to emphasize on is our buddy right here, which shows the scene, okay, having a shawah. Is joined to the sound before it. Now, let's go, brothers and sisters, and show how the Segolic noun works in that particular regard, if you will. All right, give me 1 second, please. All right, so let's look at this in this regard. Let's look at the word starting with Dalet, Gamel, and Lamed. All right, now I want to emphasize on something. In Hebrew, sometimes the vowels we went over, you may sit there and see, I want to point this out in red so it can stand out. All right, you may see a line like this. What that is referred to as is you're supposed to say it longer. Daniel. That's the only thing in that particular regard. All right. In Hebrew, sometimes when you're looking at the Torah and with the vowels and everything, and you see something, you know how to draw a horseshoe? Draw that, please, right here, under that. Thank you, brother. When you see something that looks like a horseshoe, when you're going over in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, that is referred to as an opnot, and they're basically trying to say to you that you're supposed to pause. So what are we showing in the red aspect is this. When you see this right here, this line in any word is usually between the first and the second, or usually between the second and the third. They are trying to say to you in pronunciating the word that whatever is next is supposed to be said longer. So whereas normally we say degel, when you see that little line, it's to say degel. That's all, but it's still saying degel, degel. You're still saying the same thing. This thing is referred to as the atna in Hebrew, referring to, I want to put it in terminologies as a horseshoe looking thing inside of Hebrew. They're saying that you're supposed to pause. So if that had been there, all right, it would have then be said as degel, degel, which is still saying degel. All right, so we just want to go over that particular aspect. All right, so now erasing that particular thing there. All right, you may begin to also see in Hebrew when dealing with the vowels little marks like this or like this on top. What you're looking at right there, they're basically trying to say that's supposed to be like a comma, and what you're just supposed to pause slightly when pronunciating. Still going to say the word basically the same way. And it's the same thing as in on the top when you see it in that regard. A lot of people have asked me, well, what are these other marks that we didn't go over before and the vowels mean? So I want to emphasize it in this particular case. All right? This is a teaching being brought to you from Shema Israel, giving glory and praise to the creator and maker of heaven and earth. My Hebrew teacher was Cohen and is Kohen Mikael. My Hebrew advisor is More Mishael ben Yisrael. All right, elders in the house of Yisrael. So these are things we want to point out. The word degel, okay, means flag. Now let's look at this right here. You got the Dalet, the Gemel, right? With the Shabbat, the Lamed with the Kirik and the Yod. Whether you have a Yod next to it, the Kirik can still exist. All right? So this is something we want to point out for reason and purposes. Now, this word literally right here spells the word dig-li. Dig-li. What has happened, brothers and sisters, is this. As stated with the shawah, you join it together, you get dig, and then continue reading on. Dig-li, which means my flag. All right? So these are things we want to show for edification purposes and reason once it gets into the Hebrew aspect. Okay? Now, let's look, brothers and sisters, in this regard. You have the word bet, gemel, and dot. Beged. Beged means garment. All right? So that's something we want to point out for edification purposes. The word beged means garment. Now, when you look at it, let's look at it this way. Bet, gemel, dalet, and wow. Big dough. All right? So we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about in this regard. So, what happens as we're going to continuously go over is this. The kirit with the bet is B. The gemel with the shawah becomes big. Dough. Big dough in Hebrew means his garment. All right? So we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about in that regard. Beged garment, big dough, his garment. All right? So this lesson is not so much about how to show the possession of a noun, but more so about how does the vowels work. Vowels, brothers and sisters, and others included, make sound. You cannot have a language without sound. All right? So a vowel is simply nothing more but a sound that has been written. All right? So this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, we're going to continue on in this particular lesson at this particular time. Let's look at a word such as this. This word here spells the word Yerusha. Does anyone offhand you can say the word Yerusha? Try to sound it out. The yo with the shawah, the wow with the shuruk, and the sheen with the kwamat. Yerusha means inheritance. All right. Also, the word nakala also means inheritance, but we're going to operate and deal with this word here as in the word Yerusha and show a particular aspect. All right. You may see, as stated, the shawah with it being with the first letter. All right. Shawah with yod. All right. But you will never see, brothers and sisters, the shawah with the first and the second letter. You may see it as stated with the first and the third, the first and the fourth, the second and the third, as in the word malakakaf. You've seen it with the lamed and the kaf, but you will never see it with the first and the second letter of any word. All right? These are things we want to go over for edification purposes. All right? Now, let's look at this particular thing in this regard. And we want to show some aspect, a little bit of grammar in Hebrew. All right? FEM stands for feminine. Anytime you have a noun, all right, be it a she letter or any other letter, with a quamat under it and a hey at the last letter of the noun, it is a feminine noun. All right? Yerusha, Kippah, and so forth. Let's deal with that word. so we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. All right? Let's look at the word kippah, right? Kaf, pei, and hey. All right? What we're showing, brothers and sisters, all right, is this. And that is feminine. Had it been the word Torah, also feminine. The word Bina, meaning understanding, also feminine. Jacob's daughter named Dinah, obviously she's a female, feminine. All right? So these are things we want to show for edification purposes and reasoning. All right? The word kippah means hat. All right? So that's to be known for edification purposes. Now, I'm going to give a little cheat sheet, if you will, and get into just a little bit of grammar with the time allotted. All right? Let's look at this here. Matter of fact, let me wash the board down just slightly, if I may. All right? Let's look at this here. Well, when I write it. Okay? A commonly used word here. Tau, wow, resh, and hey. The word spells Torah, but it's a feminine word. Because, brothers and sisters, you have what? The last letters are hey, and the letter before that has a quamatz with it. So it spells a feminine word, Torah. Let's look at this phonetically. You have the tau and then the wow with the O, to. The resh and the a, Torah. Hebrew is different, but it's not difficult. And this is something we want to show for edification purposes. All right? Now, as stated, I'm going to give a little cheat sheet. The word Torah means law, teaching, instruction. All right? Now, it comes from the root word yarach, which is not aspect of feminine, though it ends with the hey with that, due to it being a verb. This is the verb, which means to teach or to instruct, as in the word hora. All right? So yariti means I taught. All right? Because what happens anytime a verb ends with a hey is referred to as a lamed hey verb, and therefore when you conjugate it in the past tense, it drops off. Any verb that starts with a yod is referred to as a pay yod verb. These we'll get into as we go along. I'm just giving, as stated, a cheat sheet. Brothers and sisters, the letter tau in many cases is shown as a prefix. We're going to review what we went over, taking the advice from Kohen Mikael, my Hebrew teacher. You understand? It's for edification purposes. Once again, let's look at this. Aleph, bet, bet. Aleph, dalet, dalet. Now I'm just using these because we're familiar with them. This will be ah, because aleph makes no sound. But I want to show it with a letter making a sound. Bet, ba, b, ah, ba, b. That's not a word. I'm just showing the aspect of the vowels. All right? Aleph or any letter with this makes the oo sound. All right? So since Aleph is mute, that right here is said as oo. This with Dalet makes what sound? The D sound, as we went over in lesson number 3. All right? So that would say do. Then we have the aspect of that. With the colon, with the dot on top, that will be do. All right? So we want this to be shown for edification purposes. All right? Let's look at this right here. And I'm going to put it without the wow because you may see it like that when reading. The sheen has a shawab. As stated with the shawab, had it been any other part you joined with before it. And when a shawab is with the first letter, you just say sh, sh. You just say the sound of the letter itself. Shalom ka. The lamed has a kolam, as this dalet has a kolam. Shalom, the mem has a shawab. What we stated with shawab, you join it in that regard with the sound before. All right? These rules may say, oh, it's redundant. Then maybe this class ain't for you. But we're going to keep moving on in this regard. Shalom, the kaf with the kwamat in it. Shalom kaf. As stated, you may see the kaf, so feet, with the shawab or with a kwamat in it, or periodically you'll see a nun so feet with the kwamat with it. All right? Remember, so feet letters always go at the end of the word. All right? So that's something to be noted for edification purposes. Okay? Now, let's understand something, brothers and sisters. I want to give some more examples and move on. Let's look at this word right here. You have samek, pay, and resh. The samek has a zere, this pay has a segol, and the resh is by itself in this regard. All right? Samek makes S sound. Zere makes A sound. All right? Say, pay or fay doesn't change in the aspect of meaning or number. Say pir, say fir, meaning book. All right? You look at this word here. Samek with a kirik, with a pay, with a wow, with the u sound, the shuruk in that regard, in the resh. Sipur means story. All right? Let's look at it with this. Samek, pay, resh. The samek has the patak. The pay has the zere. Saper means to tell. All right? So he has the verb to tell, book, which is a noun, a segolit noun, and sipur, which means story. We want this to be noted for edification purposes. Saper to tell, seper book, sipur story. Samek peresh, samek peresh, samek peresh. That root doesn't drop when you're working in Hebrew phonetics. All right? It goes into other aspects too, like the word Todah is connected linguistically to the word Yahuda. Leah gave birth, she said this time when she praised Yah. Yahuda means the Most High be praised. Most High be thanked. So when we say Todah, meaning thanks, that works in that regard. Just as Yada means to teach and it begins with a yod, but Torah, the tau, serves in the aspect of a prefix. We're going to explain that at the end of this lesson right here. What letters are prefixes, what letters are suffixes. Because as we went over, and I want to put this chart down for a reason. All right? But after we explain this, a, sa, per, a, say, per, pardon me, u, si, pur. All right? So this is something we just want to expound on for edification purposes and reasoning. Now, let's look, brothers and sisters, at this particular regard. You have alphabet. Make sure it's seen, sorry. We have alphabet. It's seen, brother?
Yes.
And vowels. Once you get the alphabet and the vowels, as we said over and over, you then by default know how to read. All right, so we want that to be pointed out for edification purposes. Okay, now with the remainder of the time, we want to show in concluding what letters serve as a prefix, what letters serve as a suffix. So let's look at this right here after I wipe this board down real quick. All right. We have what? The aleph, bet, hey. Where we're going over right now is the letters that serve as a prefix. Aleph, bet, hey, wow. Yod, kaf, lamed, mem, nun, shin, and tav. These letters here in Hebrew serve as prefixes. Aleph, bet, hey, wow, yod. Kaf, lamed, mem, nun, shin, and tav. When these letters serve as prefixes, what we're looking at in this regard is in future tense verbs, this serves as the first person. All right? In dealing with verbs, the bet serves as in the meaning with or in. All right? For instance, build mode means with study. All right? The hey serves as a prefix because you use that in the fifth stem in Hebrew, which is the hefil stem. All right? The wow serves as a prefix in Hebrew because if you want to say le olam wa'eh, forever and ever, le olam wa'eh in Hebrew, and is served as a prefix by the word wa or where. So we want that to be noted for edification purposes. All right? Yod serves as a prefix in a third person masculine singular when you're dealing in regards to verbs. So that serves as a prefix in that regard. The kaf serves as a prefix when you're dealing, brothers and sisters, with the word like kimo ka, like you, kamohu, like him. Also, there's a thing in Hebrew verbs called bakalam. Means, for instance, if I were to sit there and say build mode means with studying. Kill mode would mean as studying. All right? Kill mode has say fair has it as studying this book. You will see that kaf as serving as a prefix. The lamed serves as a prefix because it shows you the infinitive of a verb, or in the aspect of saying la machane means to the camp. All right, so that serves as a prefix in that regard. The mem serves as a prefix in dealing with the aspect of the present tense form of verb from the PL, pu'al, his il, hofal, and the hipa'el. All right, so that's what it is in that regard. The mem also serves as a prefix, brothers and sisters, because you're dealing with the aspect of me eret, from the land of. All right, so that's how that works in that regard. Mikut, from outside. That serves in that particular regard. All right? Then you have noon serving as a prefix when you're dealing with the first person plural in the future tense form of a verb. Nelek, we will go. All right? That shows that in that regard. Then when we're dealing with the aspect of a shin, that serves as a prefix. You see that a lot in prayers. All right? Baruch atah, Ya Elohim. Melech haolam. Asher kuchanu. Bamitrotah. Shehik tiru, for instance. That shin serves in that regard from the word asher, which means that or which. All right? So we want that to be noted for edification purposes. You have ta, all right, serving as a prefix, brothers and sisters, when you're dealing with transforming it from a verb to a noun. When you're dealing with the aspect, brothers and sisters, in the future tense with the second person, masculine and singular, plural, masculine and feminine, singular and plural with verbs. Second person, all right? So that's how that works in that. So these are the letters that serve as prefixes in Hebrew. Okay, so let's go over the letters in Hebrew that serve as suffixes. All right, let's go over. Hey, wow, yo, ka sofi, mem sofi, no sofi, face so. No, I want to make sure I get it in order with the alphabet. Sorry. The suffixes hey, wow, yo, ka sofi, mem sofi, nu sofi, face sofi, zade sofi, and ta. These are the letters that serve also in this regard here as suffixes. Hey, wow, yo, ka sofi, mem sofi, nu sofi, fe sofi, zade sofi, and ta. Those are the letters that serve as suffixes in Hebrew. All right, as stated, to make something feminine, for instance, you have the word melech, meaning king. All right, if you suffix it with a hey, it transforms from melech to malka. Malka means queen. So that's how the hey serves as a suffix in that regard. The wow serves as a suffix because when you have a word such as, for instance, kata means to write. All right? Tik to means you will write. Tik kibu means you all will write. When you're speaking masculine plural, second person in a future tense verb, that wow serves as a suffix. Yod serves as a suffix, brothers and sisters, because you have yad, meaning hand. When you suffix that with a yod, yadi means my hand, or when you have a yod prior to that letter is any letter with a patak or kwamat, as in the word yad, yadai. So as we went over before with the word chai, all right? So this yod serves as a suffix in that regard. The ka sofi, suffix ending. Mem, sofi, suffix ending. Now, I want to explain something. When you have a ka sofi and it's connected to a verb, what I'm saying in this class is nothing that should not be taken as important. Anytime you have a ka sofi as a suffix with a verb, the meaning will always be you, what have you. All right? Ra'iti, I saw. Ra'iti, ka. It will be having this within it. All right? That is a suffix. Ra'iti, I saw. Ra'iti ka, I saw you. All right? Now, the mem sofi, oh, this is what I want to say. I want to emphasize this. Anytime, brothers and sisters and elders included, when a ka sofi is connected and put as a suffix to a verb, the meaning is always you something, what have you. Ra'iti ka, I saw you. All right? Na'aseka, we will make you. Just like that be noted for edification purposes. When you have the feet connected to a noun, it is always your. So this serves as you or your as a suffix. You in regards to verbs and your in regards to nouns. Okay? So we want that to be noted. Ra'iti ka, I saw you. Yad ka, your hand. That is a noun. So I'll state again. When you have the ka feet as a suffix with a verb, the meaning is you, whatever the verb is. Or your, if it's a noun. Kad ka, your picture. Mal kaka, your your king. The word for your face in Hebrew is paneka. All right? So we just want that to be noted. The mensophi serves as a suffix in Hebrew. Brothers and sisters, when you have it showing the pluralization or the intensification of whatever the noun is. Just because something ends with "ing," all right? Those are exclamation points. Doesn't always make it plural. Mayim means water. Panim means face. All right? Bitulim means virginity. All right? Whereas the word bitulot means virgins. Okay? So it's when you have the mensophi as a suffix, it's showing either the pluralization of that word or the intensification of that noun. All right, we want that to be noted. Nosophi serves as a suffix because you put it at the end of something, such as we went over before. We have, for instance, the word Shabbat, right? Shabbaton. Shabbat means rest. Shabbaton means absolute rest. This nosophi serves as a suffix in that kind of aspect. All right, so we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about in that regard. Kaber means friend. Kebron means friendship. That noon serves as a suffix in that regard. Fe serves as a suffix, but it's not used much. All right, so all the Sophi letters serves as a suffix. As Ade, Sophi serves as a suffix. The letter Tau serves as a suffix because when you show the personification or showing the possession of a noun, if it's a feminine noun, the hey transforms to a tau. All right, brother, give me that book again that you gave me earlier. We want to show for edification purposes and what we're talking about in this regard. All right. This right here is the letter hey. This right here is the letter tau. In this book here, Egypt Talking Writing, which is available on Amazon, I explained how one transforms to the other. But in this regard, you have it to where, in that case, where the hey and tau are feminine letters. So let's end off in that regard and explain this and close out. Okay? Let's look at this right here. You have hey and tau. All right, both serving as prefixes and suffixes. Hey becomes tau, for instance. Torah, right, ends with the letter hey. It's a feminine, meaning law or instruction. Torat ka. This is when the kasofit serves as a suffix. All right? Torat ka means your law. Now, if you just had Torat, it will be law of. Then when you put a kasofit, making this the actual suffix at that point, Torat ka, your law. Thus ends the lesson in this regard. Giving honor and praise to the one who sees all and is not seen, the one who judges all and is not judged. Yehovah Elohim, Elohim Abotim, the Lord our God and the God of our forefathers. Ha'el Haro Ehako, the God who sees all. Waha'el Asher Lo Yera'eh, and the God who is not seen. Ha'el Hashofet Hako, the God who judges all. Waha'el Asher Lo Yishapet, and the God who is not judged. Ha'el Elyon, the Most High God. Ha'el Asher Hu Moshel Abado, the God who rules by himself. Ain Yoshem Etzlai, there is none that sits next unto him. When Ain Al Yoshem Al Kiso Milbado, and there is none that sits on his throne of his glory besides him. Yehovah who? Yehovah is he. Yehovah Haya, he was. Yehovah Hoeh, Yehovah is. Yehovah Yisye Betif Ara, he was, he is, and he will be in glory. Ain Sheni Lebado, there is none to be compared or second to the Most High. There is no God beside the God of Israel. This is what we want to point out. None of the other gods from Hathor, Sekhmet, Jesus Christ, Allah, so forth and so on, Buddha, none of them can compare to the God of the house of Israel. Right? So these are things we want to show for edification purposes. And I'm quite tired of saying, no offense intended, because Yah is king and there is none else. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Josiah Ben Levin, take us out with the prayer in.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Told O great King, even for the Hebrew lesson that more bestowed upon us, even here in the house of Shema Israel. Toda Yah Eloheinu, for being our God, allowing us, Israel, to be thy servant. Toda Yah for blessing us even in our captivity. O Most High, continue to be with Israel and bless us in this week to come before us as we start a new day, Yah.
Now, Yah.
Continue to watch over us and guide us in the highways and the byways. Even to watch over my Abba, protect him and keep him safe.
Amen.
Toda Yah Eloheinu, for More Yeshaya, may you bless him and keep him with much knowledge and wisdom, that he may teach your people who have fallen far off from our home language, the language that our forefathers, Noah, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov spoke, Yah. Toda Yah, for all things and everything, food, shelter, and raiment, and the clothes upon our backs. Toda Yah, especially for the Hebrew aspect. Toda Yah, for More Yeshaya. Toda Yah, for the house of Shema Israel. Nasi Zapor, Ben Zebulon, even Chief Nathaniel Ben Lewi, even me, Yehovah, Toda Yah. And may you find us all to be fit for a blessing, a great blessing, that you may find us righteous and lawful in your sight, faultless, Yah. We thank you now and forever and say, Ahalel Baku Mosh Bataya Eloheinu.
Baruchu, Amen.
Hallelujah.
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 Amen.
Amen. When you said, what's leave it on. What's that word you said at the end?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Now, real quick, family, the brother said what? Ahalel. Hallel, to praise. Right? Here goes our prefix with our friend, the Aleph. Ahalel, I will praise. That is the lesson. Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem.